Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ozzymitsu and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you another episode of my Evolution Solution series. If you're new here, I've recently expanded the series in which I discuss, compare and analyse Pokemon who are either part of the same evolutionary line or have some sort of close-knit bond.
First you change my voice because you forget the settings, and now you reuse this edit. You're so unoriginal.
What do you mean reused? I've never used that in my whole life. Let's move on to Tapu Lele, the guardian deity of Akala Island. Listen here, you little If you wanted to familiarise yourself with the series as a whole, I've placed a link to the entire playlist in the description below. However, it'll also show up on the iCard on the top right hand corner of your screen for your convenience. Today I wanted to analyse the different forms of Necrozma. We do have a lot to cover today, so we're just going to get started with regular Necrozma right off the crowbat. And for the purpose of this video, I'll be referring to it as just Necrozma. Also, prior to this analysis, I just want to mention that we won't be discussing the forms learn sets through level up too much, as they are virtually identical and we don't want to be wasting too much time on something like that. Anyway, Becky, do your thing.
It looks somehow pained as it rages around in search of light, which serves as its energy. It's apparently from another world.
Necrozma is a pure psychic type, which means it is weak to bug, ghost and dark type moves. It has no immunities whilst resisting fighting and psychic. A point to be noted is that Necrozma's ability is Prism Armor, which reduces damage taken from super effective moves, so Necrozma's weaknesses to ghost, dark and bug type moves will be slightly reduced, so it's not the usual 2 times effectiveness. Looking at its stats, they're quite impressive, with a remarkable physical attack, defense and special attack stat. It is in an awkward speed tier though, and gets outsped by a lot of its threats. You can run Necrozma in many different ways, so I'm going to cover 2 potential movesets which I think would be most effective. Let's start with a more offensive moveset. So for this one we're going to go for Swords Dance, Psycho Cut, Earthquake or Brick Break, and Stone Edge. The item we're going to give it is Life Orb, or you can give it the Fightium Z for Brick Break or Rockium Z for Stone Edge, and that's going to be doing a lot of damage. The Eevee investment is max attack, max speed and 4 EVs in special defense. If you set up Sword Stance and go into all out pummeling the fighting type Z move, so you can actually hit steel types like Kartana or Skarmory for at least neutral damage, or the rock type Z move, making Stone Edge even more powerful. Another set I had in mind is a little more suited for a defensive playstyle, and it's as followed: Psychic, Thunder Wave, Moonlight or Morning Sun, and Stealth Rocks. T-Wave is to control the speed of your opponent, Stealth Rocks just to deter constant switch-ins or to at least have some chip damage here and there, and Psychic just in case you get taunted and it's nice to finish off an opponent without switching out. Moonlight or Morning Sun is just for reliable recovery whilst holding leftovers. I have seen some people run regular Necrozma in so many ways. I've seen a sub Salakberry set to raise that speed, or a Rock Polish weakness policy set, which can also be quite threatening. Let's move on to Dusk named Necrozma. Becky, can you tell us a little bit about this form of Necrozma please?
This is its form when it's devouring the light of Solgaleo. It pounces on foes and then slashes them with the claws on its forelimbs and back.
Although Necrozma is unable to evolve, it can become Dusk main Necrozma when fused with Solgaleo using the N Solarizer. It retains the ability Prism Armor as mentioned previously. It is a Psychic Steel type, which means it is weak to ground, ghost, fire and dark. It is immune to poison, but it does resist normal, flying, rock, steel, grass, ice, dragon, fairy, and a quarter resistance to psychic type moves. I don't know what to think of those stats though. Although offensively its physical stats and its special defense have been buffed, it loses a little bit of its speed and special attack when comparing them to regular Necrozma. When you compare them to Solgaleo, you can see a lot more of a difference. That HP stat has been heavily nerfed, as well as its speed being reduced by a great deal. Although I know it technically wasn't Solgaleo to begin with, the one thing that is disappointing is that with Solgaleo it was common to run Flame Charge because a base 97 speed stat was in a very awkward speed tier. Flame Charge could resolve that to a certain degree, However, Dusk main Necrozma does not get access to this move upon the fusion. Even if you teach your Solgaleo Flame Charge prior to this, the fusion will revoke the access to this, because it technically could never use this move to begin with, because as mentioned before, it's Necrozma, not Solgaleo. What a shame. The only move that will successfully transfer is Solgaleo's signature move, Sunsteel Strike. In terms of a moveset, I really struggled coming up with one because you can use this form in a variety of ways, but I was thinking of one that could be somewhat effective. Sword Stance, Sunsteel Strike, EQ and Photon Geyser. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, so feel free to correct me in the comment section below. So with Photon Geyser, it kind of is like the inverse of Psyshock, but better. It's a special attack that uses your highest stats. Since Dusk main has a higher attack, it will use that into the calculation and take into account your opponent's SPDF, if that makes sense. As for an item, there are so many options, but I feel a Solganium Z could be useful just so you have a high damaging move behind your back, and opting for the Jolly Nature in this instance is probably your safest and most consistent choice. I would recommend keeping your previous Necrozma from Sun and Moon, and then the one that you catch in Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon, just so you can have different natures. Let's move on to Dawnwing's Necrozma. Becky, what can you tell us about it?
This is its form whilst it's devouring the light of Lunala. It grasps foes in its giant claws and rips them apart with brute force.
Dawnwing's Necrozma is classified as the fusion of Necrozma with Lunala using the N Lunarizer. Lunarizer? Pokemon, you're supposed to be a kid's game. What's up with all these difficult pronouncing words? Ah! Upon this fusion, it attains a dual typing of Psychic and Ghost, and just like Necrozma and Dusk main Necrozma, has the ability Prism Armor. With this typing, it is weak to Ghost and Dark, takes no effect from normal and fighting type moves, but it does resist Poison and Psychic. Looking at its stats when comparing them to Dusk main and regular Necrozma, we can see Dawnwings excels on the special side of its stats, with its best stats peaking at a base 157. It shares the same fate as Solgaleo had when fused with Necrozma. The buffed offenses come in exchange of its HP and speed stats, but again I know it technically wasn't Lunala to begin with, it's Necrozma, I get it. But looking at its stats, and with an effective moveset, even with that speed drop, Dawnwings can be quite the threat in battle. So a moveset I would personally go for is Heat Wave, Moongeist Beam, Photon Geyser and Earth Power. I'd probably have it hold a Choice Scarf with a timid nature since its speed is a little bit underwhelming, but you can go for the Choice Scarf set with a modest nature if you really wanted to. But overall it would be a very good, powerful, offensive special sweeper. Especially considering Dawnwings doesn't attain Lunala's Shadow Shield ability, so making it defensive may not be as effective as it adopting the role of a special sweeper. Finally, let's quickly look at Ultra Necrozma. Now, I won't be going into too much detail about it because this form relies solely on Dusk main or Dawnwings Necrozma being obtainable via Ultra Burst. Upon this transformation, it attains a very unique ability, which is Neuroforce, which increases the power of moves, which would be super effective. It's very interesting that it obtains this ability, as it's kind of seen as the inverse of Prism Armor, in the sense that Prism Armor reduces the damage taken from super effective moves, but Neuroforce inflicts more onto your opponent. Very interesting, very well thought out Pokemon, A++. When it transforms into this form, it becomes a Psychic Dragon type, which means it is weak to Bug, Ghost, Ice, Dragon, Dark, and the Almighty Fairy. It has no immunities, but it does resist Fighting, Fire, Water, Grass, Electric and Psychic. And its BST is a whopping 754, where its physical and special attack go to a base 167, its physical and special defense at a base 97, whilst its speed increasing to an impressive base 129. Reviewing the full from an analytic standpoint, let's start with regular Necrozma. So although it's considered the weakest out of the four, it has a freedom of an item slot like leftovers or a choice item to increase its offenses or speed, so it can be classified as more of a versatile Pokemon and not as predictable. Dusk main is considered the better physical attacker and has also the freedom of an item slot just like regular Necrozma, and it also has the stats to back it up to be a sweeper. Dawnwings is considered the better special attacker and also has the freedom of an item slot. And finally, Ultra Necrozma, although has the better stats, it doesn't actually have the freedom of an item slot due to having to hold the Necrozma Z, but let's be honest, it's broken. Completely broken. Like, you might as well quit if you see this thing on the field because you will not win. Taking their competitive usefulness out of the question, however, I prefer Dawnwings Necrozma just because of its design alone. I don't really have much else to add to the discussion other than that. But which of the 4 do you guys prefer? Be sure to let me know by leaving a comment down below, as I'd love to hear them all from you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please leave this video a big thumbs up, as that really helps me out, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel to become an Aussie What Today. And with all of that being said, I'll see you guys very soon.